This is Triple R Midday News with Bridget Murphy,
Mac Hurd
and Ada Hall.
Wholesale power prices in Australia have soared 141% in the 12 months to March, according to the latest quarterly report from the Australian Energy Market Operator. Prices have risen 67% alone in the last quarter. Richard Merzian, the Director of the Climate and Energy Program at the Australia Institute, says the report shows that higher demand for electricity, large coal-fired power stations going offline, and a higher input price for coal and gas are all contributing factors to the soaring prices.
So when you add all that up, it means that we're all going to be paying a bit more on our power bills, and that mainly comes down to our over-reliance on coal and gas. The smoother we can plan that transition away from coal and towards renewables, the better our power bills will look.
The Immunisation Coalition is urging Australians to get the flu vaccine this year. New research has shown that only 35% of adults are planning to get vaccinated. Chairman of the coalition, Dr. Rod Pearce, says it's important to get vaccinated following the easing of COVID restrictions.
Influenza is a preventable disease. Vaccines are good, they're effective, and we're just reminding people that as the masks come off, social distancing changing and international travel brings influenza into Australia, we're back to needing to consider making ourselves safe by having our routine vaccines.
An international fruit picker says farmhands from overseas should be offered the same protections as Australians now have under the new Horticultural Award. Under the award, launched yesterday, Australian workers have a set minimum wage of $25.41 an hour, replacing a daily harvest wage. The Australian Workers' Union has lauded the introduction of the award. Foreign backpackers make up a large percentage of current farmhands in Australia, and Georgia Desiree, an experienced overseas worker, says international backpackers should be receiving the same wage and benefits.
Instead, why don't we put in more possibilities for backpackers to have more rights in fruit picking, like better, higher wages, maybe medical insurance, these sort of things, instead of just kicking them out. I think it's trying to save money, but not exactly going to be very effective.
Australians who lived in the UK between 1980 and 1996 will now be able to give blood donations following Therapeutic Goods Administration approval. The outbreak of a disease commonly known as mad cow disease prompted Australia to ban blood donations 20 years ago. The Red Cross Lifeblood Service has lobbied for the past year for the ban to be lifted. The process of clinical approval is long and tedious, as Dr. Helen Durham of Lifeblood explains.
So any change that we make to blood donation rules needs to undergo a very rigorous process. Ultimately, every blood donation goes to a patient in need, and we need to make sure that we maintain a very safe blood supply, and that's why Australia has one of the safest blood supplies in the world.
A heritage overlay has been granted for 126 buildings and locations within Melbourne's Hoddle grid, following a 2-year review by the Future Melbourne Committee. In the CBD's first thorough review since the 1990s, more than 1,000 buildings were assessed, considering Aboriginal, colonial, contemporary, community, tangible and intangible heritage values. Locations include Melbourne House, Greater Western Hotel, a section of Flinders Lane, and the 1970s designed apartment building at 13 Collins Street. The listings will provide more certainty for developers and the community about their historical value, but will not stop any redevelopment.
In cricket news, Ben Stokes has been named England's 81st Test captain, replacing Joe Root. Stokes made his Test debut in December 2013 and has represented his country 79 times at Test level. In a statement, Stokes says it's an honour and a privilege to lead the team and is excited about getting started. To rugby, and Spain has been disqualified from next year's World Cup in France after fielding an ineligible player in 2 matches during the recent Europe Championships. This is the second time Spain has been denied entry to the World Cup after being sanctioned in 2019 for fielding ineligible players.
And now for the weather. Partly cloudy today with a max of 24 degrees, but prepare for possible thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. Tomorrow, cloudy with an expected top of 18 degrees, rain easing early in the morning. And on Sunday, we can expect a partly cloudy sky, a top of 20 degrees. This is Triple R Midday News with Bridget Murphy,
Mac Hurd,
and Ada Hall.